This tutorial is for 3rd grade, Module 7, Lesson 18. In Lesson 18, we're going to look at the connection between the area and perimeter of rectangles. The directions say to shade in squares on your grid paper to build as many rectangles as you can with an area of 24 square units, and then we'll fill in the table as we build the rectangles. Well, just a reminder, when we're talking about the area of a shape, we're talking about how many square units are on the inside of the shape. We have an example of one rectangle that has an area of 24 square units. It's 24 units long and 1 unit wide, meaning that there would be 24 smaller squares that make up this entire rectangle. The chart says the length of this rectangle is 24 units. The width is 1 unit. The area is 24 square units. The perimeter is 50 units. Now let's see how we got the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance around the entire shape. One length and one width would be 25 units. But we also have to add the other two sides. So the bottom and the other side would be another 25 units. That gives me a total of 50 units for the perimeter. Now, when we talk about area and perimeter, we need to pay attention to our labels as well. The area is talking about how many squares make up the shape. The perimeter is just talking about the distance around the shape, so its label will just be units, as opposed to the square units for the area. Now, let's see if we can find another rectangle that has an area of 24 square units. Well, since I know to find my area, I have to multiply my length times my width to get 24. Let's change our width to 2 units, and 2 times 12 would give me 24 square units for an area. So 2 times 12 is 24 square units. To find the perimeter of this shape, I would add my length and my width. 12 plus 2 is 14, but then I would have to add another length and another width, and that would be another 14. So 14 plus 14 is 28 units. 12 plus 2 plus 12 plus 2. So the area is still 24 square units, but the perimeter is 28 units. I can use that same logic to come up with a third rectangle. Instead of using 2 units for the width, I'm going to use 3 units, because 3 times 8 is 24. I know my length times my width needs to equal 24. So the area is still 24 square units, and then the perimeter would be 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 3 to get all 4 sides. 8 plus 3 is 11. Another 11 would be 22 units for the perimeter. I'm going to make a fourth rectangle by changing my width to 4 units. 4 times 6 is 24. This rectangle would have an area of 24 square units, and then the perimeter would be 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4. Well, 6 plus 4 is 10. Another 10 would give me 20 units. Now, if I were to try to continue here, the next width I would try is 5 units. Well, I can't take 5 times another whole number to get an answer of 24, so 5 would not work. If I tried 6 units, that would give me the same rectangle as I have above. It would just be turned in a different direction. So we can't use 6 and 4 again. So these are the 4 rectangles that we could make that all have an area of 24 square units, and then you can see they have different perimeters. In fact, the wider our rectangle gets, the smaller the perimeter gets. The longer the rectangle is, the longer the perimeter is. So you can see a connection there between the changing of the units. The next question says, Doug used square unit tiles to build rectangles with an area of 15 square units. He drew the rectangles as shown below, but forgot to label the side lengths. Can you determine the side lengths of each rectangle? Well, we know that when we multiply our length times our width on each rectangle, we need to get an area of 15 square units. So I'm going to think of multiplication problems that equal 15. I know that 1 times 15 would equal 15. I also know that 3 times 5 would equal 15. Well, looking at the shapes, it seems logical that rectangle A would be 1 times 15 because it's showing a fairly small width and a very long length. So 1 times 15 would give rectangle A an area of 15 square units, and that means rectangle B could be 3 units by 5 units. The width is smaller than the length, but when we multiply them, we still get 15 square units. So those are the most logical measurements for these two rectangles. Now the perimeter of rectangle A would be 15 plus 15 plus 1 plus 1. 15 plus 15 is 30. 1 plus 1 is 2, so the perimeter would be 32 units. The perimeter for rectangle B would be 5 plus 5, which is 10. 3 plus 3 is 6. So 10 plus 6 is 16. So the perimeter of rectangle B would be 16 units. So even though they have the same area, they definitely have different perimeters. And it follows that pattern where the wider our rectangle gets, the smaller the perimeter is.